Hi, I'm Kim Brown. Glad you could join me today. And with us also today is Ryan Grubb, a tactics practitioner very close by in Virginia. Welcome, Ryan.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Appreciate that.
I'm glad you could be here. Ryan is with Real Stuff, Real Change. So I'm assuming you must have had some change in your life, Ryan. Tell us a little bit about your change.
I appreciate you having me on. And yeah, there has been probably multiple phases or what you call waves of changes in my life. Um, and it's quite a bit. Some of the waves were Hawaiian-sized waves, and some of them were little bitty, kind of like, East Coast waves. I hope I don't offend any surfers on the East Coast, but the waves are bigger out in Hawaii and Maui there. So, but I have, and it kind of started when I was a child. I came from a really good family, very loving family. However, my dad, he passed when I was little. I was about 2. And that began a little bit of a survival campaign for my family. And so through childhood, and of course, I also have a hand ailment, which really I don't consider it an ailment, but that was another setback for my family because there was a need to protect me. And I was the first male grandchild. I was considered, untouchable almost in terms of the family dynamic. I was going to change the world in 7 seconds, meaning 7 seconds. And I felt that pressure even as a young child, becoming older and growing up. So I have had some real changes probably in between the childhood area, the teen area, even as a single, and now as I would say a middle-aged, mature adult. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, I have.
Very good. Well, we certainly had some experiences trying to experience this video today, haven't we?
We have had some real stuff try to get in the way of these real video changes we're trying to play. Absolutely. Everything. Technology is not what you think it is. So
No, it
sometimes
isn't.
it can be the best friend you have in the world, and then it can turn on you like, I don't know, like a bad apple. So yeah, absolutely.
So what do we do when these events of life just seem to overwhelm us and thwart us at every turn?
Well,
What
that's a great
do we
question.
do?
That's a great question, and it's a question that I have been uncovering probably for the entire 47 years of my life, even though I didn't know it as a kid. And so, I think the easy way to handle it is just to kind of run away. Kind of just take, I'm going to get off the interstate. You're on the interstate,
Mm-hmm.
maybe, and you say, I'm going to take a back road. I don't want to really deal with the traffic or people or, myself, or maybe you take a break from your family and you get a divorce or you separate or whatever. That's the easy way, but it's really the hard way, And so I learned that over time that hard way is that easy way seems, that hard way seems easier, but then you add pain to it. So what I've learned over probably I would say the last 5 to 8 years really, is, in order to really identify change, you have to go inside the change, and you really have to pinpoint it and be okay with being okay in your pain and then coming out of that pain. And I don't think that's a very popular, how do I say this, pattern or path people want to take, because
It's
it
kind of
requires them
scary.
to kind of get inside themselves and kind of clean out the gut or whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of parables to this stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to get inside and kind of clean the inside of the cup, if you want to call it, in order to get to the outside. And I think we like the outside. We love the outside. Yeah, man, I'm great, man. Life is awesome. Got a great job. But then people start asking you questions about your emotional stuff. And you go, wait a minute, man, I don't know if
Don't go there.
I don't think that's on the agenda for today. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's a great question. So really just trying to have ways to actually enter the emotional pain or the emotional challenges. And then in fact, trying to work out ways in order to release it through various methods, such as tapping, such as meditation, such as visual imagery, perception, changing the way that you see things, allowing yourself to love yourself, things of that nature. Those are really, really important commodities that I've tapped into, no pun intended, to become more aware and more less projectile. How about that?
Yeah.
I mean, there is a reason why they call it projectile vomiting when you use it, because you just and we do that with our emotions. We project our emotions. Sometimes even the memories we have aren't even real. They've never existed. So yeah.
So what is the real mission behind Real Stuff, Real Change? What's the mission?
That's a great question. Great question. So we have a saying, real stuff, real change. My wife and I do. Got to put her in there. Got to give her props because she's an amazing lady. So we want to train and educate people how to be stress-free and content within a place of safety. So what do I mean by that? Well, problems are always, they're an equal opportunity employer. They're always going to be around. We can always find them. We can always, gain them. We can be negatively affirmed, but we want to help people train their brain, train their life to be less stressful and content, but safe. And what I mean by that is things come up, job changes and, relationships, and people pass away, and there's illness and sickness, and you're going to have people around you that are, buying for your time, and they want to know things, and you don't have time to do it. You're going to have to learn. We want people to learn and educate, because we're a training and educational company. That's what we call ourselves. We're a service-based company. We are not a therapy company. We are a service-based company. We are giving people tools to train themselves to have a better life. And so when we do that, they become a multiplier. They become more of a tool for the community they're in, and they become able to share something with somebody that is very healthy. Is it without problem? No, because problems are here. We live in an unfair world. We live in a place of I'm a Christian, so sin, I believe sin is here. I also believe that if you're not a Christian, that's okay. You have your own problems and you create them, but we always create some of our own stuff. So we have a chance to give people an opportunity to train themselves. And I say it like that because that way they're doing the work. We're guiding them. That's our mission. Our mission is to do that for people, Christian, non-Christian. We want to do it for organizations. We want to help corporate leaders understand the validity of emotions. We want to ministry people, empowering them to understand that they're replaceable. They need to understand that God is the only thing that's not replaceable, so they can be more beneficial to their people. They can multiply and power through the Spirit. Athletes. We're working with athletes and peak performance executives here in Charlottesville. With a partner of mine. Her name is Melanie Dorian, and she's a fantastic nurse practitioner. We want to help people optimize their abilities. And the only way to do that is to really get their emotional discontent into a place of strength and security. And when they do that, then they become more aware and more able to handle the day-to-day situations that come up in their lives. So I hope that helped. That was
yeah, absolutely. I know my husband died in January of 2018. Now, if I had been employed 5 days a week somewhere, my employer would most definitely have seen some deficiencies in my abilities in my work. I could not leave that at home when I walked into the door of work. I found it difficult to read a book for several months after that. And I was tapping, okay? It was something I had to progress through. So I think that's marvelous that you're offering it to corporations as well, because people are the employees and the owners of corporations, aren't they?
Sure they are. And they're responsible for people pretty much 8 to 10 hours a day, whether they like it or not. You hire them, you fire them, you do all those things. You got to help people not necessarily manage, but lead them. We need to be leaders. And when I think about that, I think about people who kind of miss the idealism of leadership. And so we're offering it to groups because we believe that there's a collaboration that can actually make them more money, create better presenters, leaders with less work. I mean, Joseph Murray said it best: less effort will create more abundance in your life. I'm not talking just about money. I'm talking about contentment and peace and rest and things of that nature. So yeah, we want this to be something that we can create even for teenagers. We'd like to see teenagers leading people and helping the culture. The culture today, I mean, I was reading the news this morning, 10 people shot in Brazil this morning. And I'm going, we need to get this message out that it's not about more rules and regulations. It's about emotional intelligence. We have to get this. And even the greatest people and the most successful people like a Steve Jobs or a Michael Dell or even a Michael Jordan understand this concept or understood it. Steve is no longer here. Understood that at a different level, because if they didn't, they wouldn't have been the guys they were. And so absolutely. Didn't mean to get on a tangent there. I just feel very passionate about the idea behind this. It's so needed. It's so needed. And I'm really sorry about your husband. I think that's fantastic that you're doing the work you're doing, Kim. It makes me honor you more, connect us more. And I respect that. Thank you for sharing that.
Well, I can certainly tell you, if it had not been for tapping, for having these tools and skills of emotional intelligence, I would not be here in many, many ways right now.
Sure.
For sure.
Totally understood. Yeah, absolutely.
And you mentioned earlier about being a multiplier. Just with the change you and your wife have experienced, do you see that that's trickled down into your teenagers?
So I have, that's a great question. And I have a 15-year-old daughter. Her name is Kennedy. She's an amazing, talented woman, young girl, about to get her driver's license. And I have a 10-year-old Emery. She's an orange belt in Taekwondo. She's only been doing it for 2 months, and she plays basketball. She's a big Candace Parker fan who played for the University of Tennessee. So she's loving that. Learned behaviors is a part of my life there that I had to really investigate. And what I mean by that is, as a young father and a young husband, I was not real good at this stuff. I was very reactive and very quick to judge and be biased and assumption. There's a lot of fear, a lot of ongoing fear, a lot of consistent fear. What if, that bondage of, I got to protect myself. People are out to get me. And so as I got older and I learned through spiritual eyes and through emotional eyes, I started to realize that nobody was out to hurt me. They're not trying to get to me. I need to stop looking over my shoulder. And this trickled down to my kids. And what started to happen is the way we handle fear amongst us as a family, the way that my wife and I discuss things, her ability to talk to me better and me to accept it, and was really me accepting me. So what I'm teaching them is acceptance of yourself is the number one priority. Seeing who you are and liking who you are, no matter what's going on in your life, will change the game.
Yep.
And when you change the game like that, you multiply. You multiply yourself without even saying a word. And to me, that is that's the most powerful tool. I know I study out Words Can Change the Brain by Andrew Newberg. He's an MD, and he has this saying. He goes, you need to learn to slow down. And when I hear that, I think about my kids. So yes, it's really made a difference in the way that they interact with me. I have a lot less insecurity about the mistakes I make with them. We hug a lot more. We're not perfect. We have all kinds of stuff to deal with, but that's what makes life tolerable, as they said in Rudy, when I was watching the movie Rudy. That's what makes life tolerable, dreams, right? But also what makes life tolerable is you have relationships, and you have functional relationships. So yeah, I adore my kids, and because they've given me second chances. That's what the Real Stuff, Real Change plan is about. So,
beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, Ryan, if you had one message that you would love to share with everyone watching today, what would that one message be?
Wow, that's a great question. If I had one message, which, I have many, but
well, tomorrow it will be a different one, but today.
One message, you got it. Kim's like, come on, reel it in here, buddy. Come on. I would encourage people to never give up on themselves. And I say that because seek what is yours, believe what you can excel in, and affirm that you already have it. And by doing that, you create a persevering spirit without wearing yourself out. And so through that process, you become a lot more applicable to reality and a lot less controlled by the outside environment. And so that's the message I would send to people. Don't give up. Persevere internally.
I love that. Well, Ryan, thank you so much for being with us today.
You're very welcome. Yeah, I appreciate the time, and look forward to talking again.
Great. And Ryan and I thank all of you for watching today. If you're ready for real change because you're tired of going through your real stuff, get in touch with Ryan. I'll have his information at the end of this interview. And remember, no matter what you've experienced in the past, just like Ryan said, don't give up. Today really is a new day. See you next time.